Good evening, good evening, good evening. It is a great day. It is an outstanding Saturday afternoon. Been extremely busy, looking forward in anticipation to annual conference. And in just a few minutes, we're getting ready to go and to honor our presiding elder. We're getting ready to honor our presiding elder, the Reverend Dr. Larry Anders and First Lady Gail Anders. And we want you to be there. There's still time. There's still time. By the time you receive this message, you'll have time to get there. But let me go ahead and hurry and don't tarry, so that you will be able to get there, so that you might be able to share in the lesson. Let me go ahead and get my screen up there so that we can get to today's lesson. Today's lesson is actually a very good lesson, an outstanding lesson, if you would, today, as we look at today's word, today's lesson. Of course, you all are familiar with our giving methods. You know the manner, you know the ways that we are to give, and you have been so faithful in doing so. So consequently, I want to make sure that you continue to do that with your faithfulness. Sunday school tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Sunday school tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. And I believe the new Hill Church will be doing the lesson on tomorrow. There's the meeting ID, and there is, of course, the passcode. As I said, tonight, this evening, at the 6:30 hour over at the New Hope Church. Over at the New Hope Church, we'll be having the Presiding Elders Appreciation. Dr. Larry Anders and First Lady Gail Anders, great people. God bless them. Thank God for them. Love them both. Look forward to an outstanding occasion on tonight. Beginning actually on tomorrow evening, we will have a meet and greet with the new bishop. However, the actual conference itself starts on Monday morning. Williams Memorial Church out on St. Matthias Drive. Come on out. Let's celebrate with them in their new facility and enjoy this very exciting, I believe it's going to be, annual conference. Let's make sure that we do that. July birthdays: Levon Murray, Terry Murray Jr., Katrina Williams, Ashley Nicholson, Larry Ned, Sharon Ned, Katie McBride. I thank God for Katie. I still have a name here: Jawillie Ned, now Strickland, Keisha Savannah. There, I want to see some of you all whose names I'm calling. Jerry Thomas, God bless you, Jerry. Tommy Lee Daughtery. Tommy Lee, I think, is one of those persons that has helped us keep this church going. And so many of you after the pandemic, and thank you so much. Tim Thomas, Willie Thomas, Deidre Smith, thank you, Deidre, who has hung in there with our praise ministry for the whole pandemic. Thank you so much, John Wayne Morgan, and of course, happy birthday to my mother, Willie Mae Hudson. We pray for her as she celebrates her 80th birthday this year. I am the product of good parenting. Amen. I thank God for that. Thank God you got some good parents sometime. Tomorrow morning, we will be here virtually, and we'll be on Facebook. I think we got our Facebook problem fixed. We'll have that done, and then we will definitely be on YouTube Live. Facebook, look forward to us again tomorrow morning. I want to get into this lesson. The word resurrects the dead. Last week, we talked about how the word heals, Today, we want to talk about how the word then resurrects the dead. Jesus, of course, has told us in John 1 that he is the word. And in John 4, last week, we learned that he speaks the word, and that word heals. And wherever he speaks it from, it takes action wherever he desires it to happen. You remember last week? He spoke the word in name, and the miracle was performed where? All the way in Capernaum. God works in great ways, not just mysterious ways as wonders to perform, but God is always working in great, fascinating ways. Jesus raising people from the dead. So we have three occurrences rather, of Jesus raising one from the dead. He raises Lazarus. We're going to talk about that today in John 11. Then there's Jairus' daughter in Mark 5. He raises her from the dead after having healed the woman with the issue of blood. On his way to Jairus' house, he heals the woman with the issue of blood. And then the son of the widow at Nain in Luke 7. In fact, the resurrection of everybody that he healed, every healing that takes place in and of itself is a resurrection, because these people, the lepers, if you would, blind Bartimaeus, the woman who had the infirmity of being bent over for 18 years, the man who had laid at the pool of Bethesda for 38 years, those were resurrections. Those were life-changing, life-alterings, because certain parts of their lives had been deadened. Yes, but aren't you glad that he still resurrects us in dead places? Yes, he does that, and you ought to be thankful, and you ought to be glad about it. So let's look at the background of John 11 now. It is only in the book of John that we find the recounting of Lazarus being raised from the dead. Jesus loved this family, and he was loved by them. When he needed a rest, he could find it with these three people, Mary, Martha, and Lazarus. But we find out that Mary and Martha notified Jesus that Lazarus is deathly ill. That's in verse 3. But instead of rushing to Bethany, Jesus stays where he is for 2 more days. Therefore, by the time Jesus gets there, Lazarus has been dead 4 days. Now, in the Jewish culture, in the ancient times, I believe there's a book by Lois Lowry titled Gathering Blue. And in that book, it actually coincides with the belief that in ancient days, the 4th day is when the spirit had left the body. And that's when they were declared actually dead. And so there was hope, yes, before the 4th day. Oh man, Jesus was not in a rush to get to Bethany. He informs his disciples that Lazarus is, yes, dead, and that he is glad that he was not there to keep Lazarus from dying, just so that they might believe. He could have healed Lazarus at the point of death, but God resurrects him post-death. Oh my God, that's a word right there for somebody. Some things are maybe dead and worthy of giving up on, but God has a way of resurrecting. God resurrects lives, resurrects careers. God resurrects people. God resurrects lifestyles. He resurrects finances. He is in the resurrection business. Number one, Jesus is in control all the time. Secondly, Jesus is always right on time. When he gets there, oh my God, it's on time. He says, I am the resurrection and I am the life. And then finally, Jesus is Lord over death. I want you to take these 4 things away from this lesson today. Now, let's see here. Let's look at the text. It's a long text, but you all know it. It's a narrative. Jesus arrives in Bethany and was told that Lazarus had already been in the grave for 4 days. 4 days is symbolic and it's very important. But then the author tells us that Bethany was just a few miles down the road from Jerusalem. And many folk had come to console Mary and Martha in their loss. You know how people come. They had brought chicken. They had brought some drinks. They had brought pies and cakes, and they came to console Mary and Martha. But man, God, here comes Jesus. When Martha got word that Jesus was coming, she went to meet him, but Mary stayed in the house. Dr. C.W. Clark liked to say, but Mary stayed at the house. Martha went to meet him, but Mary stayed at the house. Yeah, Dr. Caesar Clark would say that some folk, yes, will go and others will stay. Martha said to Jesus, Lord, if you had been here, you know my brother would not have died. But even now, I know that God will give you whatever you ask. Watch this. She comes in with a scold, but then she comes also with a boast and praise. But I know God will give you whatever you ask. So obviously these were believers. Jesus said, your brother will rise again. This is how I know she had been in the presence. This is how I know she had been in the presence of Jesus, because she said, your brother will rise again. And then Martha said, oh, he will rise when everybody else rises at the last day. But Jesus said, I am the resurrection and I am the life. And anybody who believes in me will live even after the cemetery, after dying. Everyone who lives in me and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this, Martha? Look at what Martha had gone from scolding to now saying, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord, she told him, I've always believed you are the Messiah. I believe you are the Son of God. I believe you are the one who has come into the world from God. Jesus then angry as he arrived at the tomb. A cave, if you would. We skip there because verse 35 says Jesus wept. Jesus hurting there. And look at what he says. A cave with a stone rolled across the entrance. Jesus told the people, roll this stone away. Jesus told them, but Martha, the dead man's sister, protested, Lord, he's been dead 4 days. Don't you know the maggots have started to eat his body? The worms have begun to devour his flesh. Don't you know that once you open this, the stench is going to be enough to make us faint and pass out? But Jesus says, didn't I tell you that you would see God's glory only if you believe? Sometimes God allows dire, difficult circumstances to take place just so that we can see God's glory. So they rolled the stone away. Then Jesus looked up to heaven and said, Father, thank you for hearing me. You always hear me, but I said it out loud for the sake of all these people standing here, so that they will believe you sent me. You know what? If Jesus recognizes the importance of speaking it into the atmosphere so that other folk might be blessed, praise the name of the Lord. If Jesus knows that, then every now and then you ought to speak into the atmosphere for those around you that they might hear that I'm trusting in God, I'm believing God is going to do something. Then Jesus shouted, Lazarus, come out of there. Lazarus, come forth. And the dead man came out, hands and feet bound in his napkin, his winding sheet, his grave clothes. His face is wrapped. Then Jesus said, unwrap it, loose him, and let him go. He is still saying to people today, he is still saying, loose him, loose her, loose them, let them go. He has the power to come to where you are. He has the power to come to the worst place in your life. He has the ability to come wherever it is that you are, where folk have given up on you, folk have given up on your circumstance, folk have said, he stinks by now. There's no need of even bringing him out. Oh my God. But Jesus said, just show me where it is, and I'll go there, and I'll call forth. I'm glad that Jesus does that still. You know what? In 2010, when I arrived here as the pastor of the St. Luke Church, I knew I was blessed, and I am yet blessed. This has been a great tenure, a great time frame in my ministry, and I plan to be here for as long as they allow me. Amen. So if I'm not looking for a church, and I pray to God that you're not looking for a pastor, because I am so thankful and grateful to you, members of the St. Luke Church, for all the great things that we've been able to accomplish here because of our faith in God and your trust in leadership. I thank God for you every day. Thank God for you, for all that you have done for me and my family, and the ministries, the work, the friendships, and the relationships that we've been able to have. Thank God for that. Thank God for you. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to go ahead and preach this sermon. I was going to preach something else, but I tell you what, I'm going to preach that next Sunday after the annual conference. I'm going to preach a sermon tomorrow from John 11, just from this lesson. And I want to talk about when Jesus shows up. Is that all right? I hope that's all right. When Jesus shows up. God bless you all. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Come on out tonight and share in the elders' appreciation. God bless you, and God, of course, keep you. Thank you very much. God bless you.